Guess who's already back on his Star Wars bullshit? This guy.
Our story starts with Han Solo as a street urchin running junk for a mobster with his girlfriend Kira on their home planet Corellia. Han and Kira finally decide they've had enough after the most recent job and sneak off to the nearest spaceport, but are separated with Han managing to sneak in and Kira getting caught by the mobster's thugs. Han knows he can't go back for now, so he opts to join the Imperial Flight Academy with the hope of returning to save Kira. We cut to 3 years later with Han as a grunt in the Imperial Army on some backwater planet fighting who the hell knows who for who the hell knows why, when he then bumps into a phony colonel named Tobias Beckett, along with his wife Val and their alien partner Rio Durant. Han is sick to death of Army life and tries to convince Beckett to let him join his smuggling crew, but Beckett simply dumps Han into the stockade where he won't cause him any trouble. For a laugh, the Imperial MPs decide to dump Han with a beastly prisoner who turns out to be none other than the mighty Chewbacca. Han convinces Chewie to team up with him to bust out of their prison and make Beckett take them on as part of their crew. Impressed by the duo's persistence and resilience, Beckett agrees and takes them on a job to steal a mineral called coaxium. The job turns bad, though, when a group of pirates pop in, led by a warrior named Enfys Nest, who are there to steal the coaxium before the crew can steal it from the Empire. Val and Rio are both killed, and the coaxium is destroyed, so Beckett is forced to take Han and Chewie with him to meet with Dryden Voss, a crime boss for a gang called Crimson Dawn. While Beckett attempts to make his apologies, Han recognizes Dryden's lieutenant as his old girlfriend, Kira. Dryden needs coaxium for his boss. Beckett, Han, and Chewie need it so that Dryden won't kill them, and Kira wants it found so that her boss won't kill her old boyfriend. So the five of them come up with a plan. Steal unrefined coaxium from Kessel, then purify it on a planet called Savarine between Kessel and Dryden's base of operations. Kira tags along with the boys to keep an eye on them for Dryden, and they reach out to none other than Lando Calrissian, the only smuggler that can make the Kessel run. Taking the coaxium proves easy enough. What proves difficult is getting the coaxium to Savarine, because it turns out Kessel is run by the Pikes, who make spice, which is an important ingredient in most Imperial combat medicine. And when word gets to the Empire that there's a big fuss on Kessel, guess who comes a-knockin'? Han and Chewie take control of the Falcon when Lando was injured and his first mate, a droid named L337, is killed. And the two of them navigate a way around the Empire, but slowly tear apart the nice, shiny, and pretty-looking Falcon until it turns into an absolute piece of junk. The ship eventually lands on Savarine, but they're intercepted by Enfys Nest and abandoned by Lando. Enfys Nest reveals that they aren't pirates, but freedom fighters in league with the Rebel Alliance to restore the Galactic Republic. Knowing that Voss and the Empire would do nothing good with the coaxium, Han, Chewie, and Kira temporarily align themselves with Enfys and attempt to trick Voss once he arrives, but they're betrayed by Beckett, wanting to get revenge for the death of his wife. Voss then sends out his thugs to take down Enfys and her crew, but are defeated, leaving Beckett the perfect opportunity to cross Voss as well and steal the coaxium himself, with Chewie as his hostage. Knowing they can't trust each other, Voss and Han briefly fight over who should get to go after Beckett before the former is killed by Kira. Han then finds Beckett, who tries to make some kind of a monologue to his protege, but Han wisely shoots him dead one sentence in. Kira then abandons Chewie and her old flame on Savarine, but Enfys leaves them one last bit of coaxium to trade for a ship. The film then ends with a pissed off Han and Chewie landing on some jungle planet, meeting Lando. Han then challenges Lando to a game of a Spock and promptly kicks his ass before taking the Falcon as his prize. The duo then head for Tatooine, having heard about some big shot gangster who needs a couple guys for a job. I just love how low stakes this movie is. In a franchise where every last movie is about the fate of the galaxy, it's nice to just see a story about a couple simple men in the universe trying to make their way. This isn't about the prophesized chosen one, a hero turned villain, or a new hope. Han Solo is basically just Ray Liotta in Goodfellas in space. And There's something oddly cozy about that. Speaking of Han, kudos to Alden Ehrenreich for accomplishing the impossible in being not Harrison Ford and yet also having to play Han Solo. You can tell this Han isn't as gruff and cynical as the one in A New Hope, but he's still got that roguish bad boy charm, as well as that classic gag with his character where he acts like he knows exactly what he's doing and is then instantly proven wrong. This is the first and only thing I've seen Alden in, and I'm honestly impressed with him. I want more from him. Please keep him around, Hollywood. You know who else I love? Emilia Clarke. Daenerys was one of my favorite characters on Game of Thrones, and people gave her way too much crap as an actress. She's not Meryl Streep, but she's pretty darn good. And I really liked her here as Kira. She doesn't seem terribly conflicted about her life necessarily, but she does seem a little guarded about how much to tell Han. She keeps insisting to Han that she isn't the same person that he had to leave on Corellia, but never really says why. But by the end, it's pretty clear if she was a real person who watched Star Wars and not a character in it, Han wouldn't be the character she related to the most. It would be Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith, circa after he cut off Mace Windu's hand. She may have been forced to be a gangster by Dryden Voss, but she's all in on the job now. Junos Satumo. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but he returns here to the role of Chewbacca, having been the great Peter Mayhew's double in The Force Awakens, and having taken over for him full-time in The Last Jedi. And he continues to do a very good job here. I'd say he's a bit more active than he was in the first three films, but that's to be expected in a movie about Han and Chewie made in 2018. And Junos has a lot of those Mayhew mannerisms. I especially love the bit during Han and Lando's card game at the end where Han shows Chewie his hand and Chewie just smacks the table and groans like Han has the worst fucking hand ever. What I really like about Woody Harrelson's Beckett is how he actually has a bit of Han Solo in him. Some of the dialogue he's given, or even the way he delivers certain lines, they don't sound too far off from what you'd expect Han to say in A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back. And I really like that. Beckett is probably the most influential man in Han Solo's life, and he probably did partly inspire who he wanted to be, who Han Solo wanted to become. Donald Glover's Lando is just as brilliant as you may have heard. He is suave, he is funny, he is smooth as hail, and he and Alden have the absolute best exchange of dialogue in the entire movie. Paul Bettany's Dryden Voss is surprisingly good as far as villains go. He's no Vader or Palpatine, and he's certainly no Kylo Ren, but he's got menace, and the scenes with him have a lot of tension in them. Especially his last scene with Han, when we know they're gonna try to scam him, and the way Dryden talks, you're not sure if he's aware he's being scammed, or if he's just trying to get a rise out of them. And I like that. Phoebe Waller-Bridge got some flack for her role as L337, and I can see why L3 would be a little grating for people, but personally, I loved her. She was funny, and I personally enjoy her whole position as a social justice advocate for droids. And I was actually kind of sad when she died. I also just love how the Falcon was ruined from this beautiful ship from the trailers to the piece of junk we know and love from the sequels in the original trilogy. So, Rogue One didn't have a crawl. This movie also doesn't have a crawl, but it has something close to it. And all I can say is, thank you, Kathleen Kennedy! Thank you for seeing reason this time! That was a little extreme, but you get my point. At the end of the film, it's revealed that the man behind Crimson Dawn is none other than Darth Maul himself, back from the dead, with Ray Park physically returning from the Phantom Menace, and Sam Witwer returning for the voice from Star Wars Rebels and the Clone Wars. And as a fan of the expanded universe and the cartoons, it's just such a delight to see Maul in an actual movie taking place long after the Phantom Menace. And hearing Duel of Fates played over the scene and an explicit reference to Dathomir is just icing on a delicious cake. And even if you aren't aware of who this horned man is, you can tell he's bad news, and Kira deciding to follow him means she's probably not going down the right path. So, early on in the movie, Han tries to trick Lando into giving him his ship by playing sabacc against him and betting his non-existent ship against the Falcon, and Lando beats him by cheating. Personally, I don't care for this. Lando's as much a con man as Han Solo is, and I wouldn't put cheating past either of them. But if I were Ron Howard or one of the Kasdans, I would have made it so that Lando beat Han fair and square, and then Han beat Lando in the end, also fair and square. Admittedly, it's probably more dramatically satisfying to have Lando cheat and then have that ability taken from him in the finale, but I like the idea of Han and Lando beating each other in a fair game. I think it adds to the idea that these two are genuine equals and rivals, and I think cheating turns Lando into just a well-dressed schlub for Han to beat in the end, when we know he is more than that, or at least has the potential to be based on what we already know from The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. Throughout the film, Han keeps talking to Kira about how he wants to rebuild their life together. But Kira insists she's not the person Han knew back on Corellia. And while I like that she's honest with him, I kind of wish she was a little more upfront. Just come out and say, Han, honey, I'm a murderer. I didn't kill people on a battlefield. I killed them in their beds. I killed them while they ate dinner. I killed them while we had sex. And in so many other ways. You do not want anything to do with me. But she just keeps saying, I'm not who you think I am anymore. Which is fine, but I think it could stand to be a little less vague. Hooray! We finally have a black woman in a Star Wars movie! Wait, she dies inside the first half hour? What the hell? Not much else to say. Even as someone who's loved Star Wars since he was 5 years old, I'll admit, I wasn't crazy about a Han Solo movie. But when I saw the trailers, I figured, you know what, this could be fun. And it was. In fact, let me drop a hot take. Solo is the best of Disney's Star Wars movies. Why? Because it's the one Star Wars movie with a completely fresh POV. It's not some grand epic. It's not about the Empire versus the Rebellion. It's not about the First Order versus the Resistance. It's not about, whatever the hell the prequels are about. It's not about one grand puppet master manipulating the galaxy into doing his own will. Nope. It's just one small story inside this small pocket of the wider galaxy, but it still leaves the door open to let you know, oh, don't worry, those big stories are still something to happen here. So, all that said, I'm going to give Solo a Star Wars story of 4.5 out of 5. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, comment below, like and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. If you like what you saw here also, you can check out some of my previous reviews. I just talked about The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. I previously talked about the Predator series. I've talked about lots and lots and lots of comic book movies. I've talked about David Goyer's Blade trilogy. I've talked about Avengers Infinity War, Aquaman, Hellboy 2019, Shazam, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, Alita Battle Angel, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, Venom, Deadpool 2, Black Panther, Watchmen the comic and Watchmen the movie. Talked about Man of Steel, I've talked about Batman v Superman, and I've talked about Justice League. And I've even talked about some stuff you wouldn't necessarily expect to hear or people chatting about. Like, I did a video about a Japanese show about Sherlock Holmes as a woman. And I also did a video about the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. So check all those out. And also be sure to check out my latest 2 videos. My worst of the year video and my best of the year video. You have a great day. And stay tuned for my upcoming video about Rogue One. And my upcoming video about Rise of Skywalker when that is released
on Blu-ray.
Until then, like I already said, have a great day. Woodstock out.